A call for help, a desperate plea in the heart of the Galactic Council chambers. Dr. Drill of the Zork stood trembling at the podium, his usually sturdy legs weakened by despair. The Zorks, a peaceful race known for their advanced knowledge and gentle nature, were on the brink of annihilation. The Cracks, a ruthless and war-hungry species, had launched a full-scale invasion, leaving the Zorks helpless and desperate. Ignored by allies, Dr. Drill's voice quivered as he pleaded for aid. The Valari, known for their wisdom, examined their claws and disinterest. The rear, famed for their brute strength, inspected the floor with indifference. No one offered solace or salvation. The Galactic Council's refusal was a death sentence for the Zorks. With a heavy heart, Dr. Drill bowed and prepared to leave, accepting that his people would die alone. Suddenly, a firm voice rang out, echoing through the silent chamber. The Zorks will not fall while humans still draw breath. Admiral John Hawkins of Earth stood tall, his eyes blazing with determination. Earth sends her fleets. We fly now for Zorks. His declaration was met with outrage. The Valari snarled about the cost of war, while the rear quoted policy and risk. Both races reviled humans as reckless fools. Hawkins silenced them with a glare. "We go now," he repeated, and with that, he stormed out, grabbing Dr. Drill by the arm. "Come, my friend. Humanity rides to Zorks." Rallying the fleet, Admiral Hawkins stormed out of the Galactic Council chambers, his face set in determination. He barked orders into his comms as he marched. "This is Admiral Hawkins. I need the Deliverance prepped and ready to fly ASAP. Load every fighter, shuttle, and combat mech we've got and send word through the fleet. Any captain with the guts to join up, get to the rendezvous point." Dr. Drill struggled to keep pace, his antenna quivering with a mix of despair and hope. "Admiral, I cannot express the depth of my gratitude. How many ships can we expect?" Hawkins grimaced, knowing the numbers would be slim. Most of Earth's forces were tied up patrolling the far reaches of the galaxy. "However many we need to get the job done," he replied. "We'll bring the fleet's finest. You have my word, Doctor. We will save Zorks or die trying." In record time, Admiral Hawkins mustered a task force of humanity's most advanced warships. At the vanguard loomed the flagship Deliverance, a beast of a vessel bristling with enough firepower to glide as a moon. Hawkins had called in every favor to secure her for this mission. As the small fleet hurtled through warp space, Hawkins paced the bridge restlessly. Captain James Thompson, a seasoned veteran with a face weathered by decades of hard vacuum, watched him from the command chair. "We'll be dropping out of warp in 2 minutes, Admiral," Thompson reported. "Scans show multiple crack signatures in orbit. Looks like their ground forces are already knee-deep in the capital." "The battle begins," Hawkins swore. "They were cutting it close. The moment we emerge, I want a full torpedo volley bracketing spread. Light those bugs up like fireworks." Thompson nodded and leaned over to bark targeting orders at the gunnery crew. The ship shuddered as it dropped into real space, alarms blared, and the viewscreen filled with nightmarish vessels, all spikes and jagged edges. "Fire!" Thompson roared. The Deliverance shook as her powerful mass drivers hurled waves of ordnance. The human fleet followed suit, unleashing storms of missiles and searing beams of directed energy. The void boiled under their onslaught. Crack ships crumpled like foil, hulls split under the merciless barrage, spewing flame and molten metal. But the bugs didn't flee. They surged forward, spitting plasma and disruptor pulses. Fierce resistance. The human ships danced between the blasts, their advanced shields sparkling and holding. Point defense lasers swatted incoming missiles from the black. "Keep hammering them," Hawkins shouted over the chaos. "We need to clear a path to the surface." The Deliverance shuddered as a disruptor beam clawed at her flank. Consoles sparked, crewmen yelped and clutched smoking hands, but the ship endured. Her guns never fell silent. One by one, the crack ships broke apart. Escape pods burst from the wrecks as the raiders fled. "Admiral, orbital space is clear. Our shuttles have a straight shot to the surface," Thompson called out. Hawkins felt a fierce grin spread across his face. "Prep drop pods for launch. I'll lead the ground teams myself." Ground assault. The desperate charge. Dr. Drill stepped forward, eyes shining with unshod tears. "I'm coming with you. My people need to see a friendly face in their darkest hour." Hawkins clasped the doctor's hand. "Wouldn't have it any other way. Let's go kick some crack ass." The cracks had underestimated the humans. Their quick regroup was a testament to that. They had been caught off guard by the ferocity and skill of Earth's finest, but they adapted with the ruthless cunning of apex predators. "Admiral, we've got incoming." The sensor officer's voice cracked with panic. Multiple bogies closing fast, Hawkins spun to the tactical display. His eyes widened as a swarm of red blips flooded the screen, pouring from the remaining crack ships like angry hornets from a kicked nest. "Drones," he spat. Thousands of them. The cracks had unleashed their mechanical plague. Each bot was small, no larger than a dinner plate, but they flew in perfect formation, a choreographed cloud of death. Their tiny lasers seared through the void, stitching glowing scars across human hulls. Defensive measures. The fleet's point defenses roared to life, filling space with crisscrossing beams. Drones shattered by the dozen, by the hundred, but always more came. An endless tide hatched from cracked space. Consoles wailed as the small craft tore through ship shields like paper. The Deliverance bucked and heaved, explosions chaining through her decks. Crewmen screamed, bulkheads melted and ran like wax. "Pull us back," Thompson barked through the mayhem. "All ships fall back to secondary positions." The human vessels limped into a defensive sphere, their weakened shields overlapping in a desperate bid for survival. But the drones buzzed and harried them, always seeking gaps to exploit. The last stand. Holding the line. On the surface, things had gone from bad to worse. Hawkins ducked as a plasma bolt seared overhead, close enough to blister paint. Around him, Zork soldiers crumpled under the onslaught, their carapaces cracked and weeping ichor. "Keep fighting, boys," he roared over the chaos. "Hold the line." It was a brave stand, a futile one. The crack elite had sprung their ambush with expert savagery. Their blades dripped with human and Zork blood. At their head strode General Kazra, a towering mantis in ebony armor. His eyes glittered with cruel intelligence. As he stared down a human lieutenant, a dire wound. Hawkins raised his rifle to return fire, but Kazra's claw shot out fast as thought. It crunched through ceramic plating like a knife through tin. Hawkins screamed as he felt the bladed digits pierce his chest, scraping bone. Kazra jerked him close, mandibles clacking with laughter. "Foolish ape," the crack sneered. "Your kind has no place in the stars. This is but your first lesson in the price of defiance." With contemptuous ease, Kazra hurled Hawkins away. The Admiral felt something crack wetly as he slammed into rubble. His vision swam red. Each breath was agony, bubbling and thick. A glimmer of hope. "Admiral," Dr. Drill was suddenly at his side, pressing shaking hands to the ruin of Hawkins' chest. The doctor's face was streaked with despair and Zork blood. "Please, hold on." Hawkins coughed, tasting copper. "The ship," he croaked. "Have to tell Thompson." Sacrifice and survival. Taking the initiative, Thompson straightened, a desperate idea crystallizing in his mind, sharp and bright as starlight. He keyed the fleet-wide calm, his voice hardened to ice and lasers. "This is Captain Thompson. I'm assuming command. All ships, prepare to execute Emergency Plan Sigma. Divert all power to forward batteries and engines." The bridge crew looked at him in shock. They knew that plan, knew what it meant. Thompson met their gazes unflinching. "We're going to take out the head of the snake. May God have mercy on our souls." Below, a bloodied hand raised a crackling link to pallets. Admiral Hawkins forced out his words through a haze of pain, each one an iron weight. "Give them help, James. See you on the other side." The final assault. Captain James Thompson gripped the controls of the captured crack shuttle, his knuckles white beneath his gloves. Behind him, a dozen of the Deliverance's finest sat in intense silence, checking and rechecking their weapons. They all knew the stakes. Failure here would doom the Zorks and likely humanity with them. Thompson guided the insectoid craft towards the looming bulk of the crack command ship. Its jagged hull seemed to swallow the stars, a maw of obsidian hunger. He swallowed hard. "Steady," he murmured, "as much